So what is standards-based education? SBE, or standards-based education, is first having clear, measurable standards. In Virginia, those are called the SOLs. And then use those standards to drive instruction and all the components of instruction. Do you remember learning about the types of knowledge teachers must have? One was being knowledgeable in your content area. That is non-negotiable. The first rule of teaching is you can't teach what you don't know. When you are hired for your very first teaching position, your principal will be well aware that you have limited experience in the classroom and may need help with some facets of the position, but he fully expects you to be a content area expert. That's one of the reasons the teacher preparation programs have increased in rigor over the years. You will be earning a bachelor's degree in your content area, not education. Another type of knowledge you must possess is that of learners and learning. You must understand, respect, and respond to the differences in each of your students. You must have pedagogical content knowledge, that is, having an array of instructional strategies in your toolbox so that you can purposefully choose which strategies will work best in a given lesson with the learners you know so well. This will be a challenge in your first classroom, but you will get better at it. And finally, you must be a reflective practitioner, collecting and deciphering a lot of data from a lot of sources to make informed instructional decisions as you continue to plan and continuously refine your own teaching. Think of the diversity of learners who will be in your classes. No matter what grade or subject you teach, the number and range of variables is staggering. Some students may be reading way below grade level and have difficulty with your text. Some will have excellent writing skills and be able to complete an essay. Others may have the content knowledge down but cannot express it in the written form. Just look at this list of variables. Each of your students will be at various levels of readiness for whatever academic and social expectations they are faced with. Differentiating instruction means adapting your instruction to meet the needs of students who vary in background, knowledge, skills, needs, and motivation. As standards-based educators, we don't differentiate who will learn, but how we will teach so that all students have the opportunity to learn and experience some level of success. The standards-based education planning process involves 4 steps. For our purposes here, we will focus on the first 3. First, determine what the students should know and be able to do. And where do you get that information? I hope you answered the SOLs. The second step is determining how you're going to know whether or not the students are successful. This involves assessment. The ultimate summative assessment may be the SOL test, but along the way there will be plenty of others. Usually at the end of a unit, the teacher will do a variety of summative assessments. They may include mini SOL tests taken from the released SOL test items available to you on the DOE website. As I said, you'd be doing your students a disservice if you don't prepare them for those tests and that testing format. But there are other possibilities too. Culminating projects at the end of a unit could be student presentations, a written paper, a research paper, a podcast. You're not limited to one summative assessment per unit. But far more important to your daily life as a teacher and to your students' daily lives should be the many, many formative assessments, each with timely feedback so the students can grow. Assessment drives instruction. If you don't know where the students are in their understanding, you can't plan for instruction tomorrow, let alone next week. Once you've determined where you want to go and how you know you've arrived, then and only then can the teacher plan activities that will get the students to the goal of meeting that standard. And a big part of that is task analysis. Take a minute and look at this 4th grade SOL, particularly letter I. Does any of this sound like SOL test memorization to you? Now look at SOL test question number 1. It may be a simple question for you as an adult, but think like a 10-year-old and what you're being asked to do. First, just identifying Virginia will be difficult for some kids. Doesn't North Carolina look a lot like Virginia flipped upside down? A lot of kids are still experiencing reversals of letters and objects. Isn't having those other states on the map a little distracting? The student also has to read the map key and read the compass rose. They have to know and understand the term livestock. Some kids see the word live and consider vegetables as plants as being living things. Understanding all the things that go into being able to answer that one question or being able to complete a task is task analysis. As I said, for our purposes here, we're going to focus on the first 3 steps of standards-based planning process. And those are setting the objectives based on the standards, determining how you will know the students have the knowledge of that standard, and then how you will get there. But just so you know, the 4th step in the standards-based education planning process happens when instruction and learning are done. You should have collected a lot of data in the form of formative and summative assessments, and now is the time to analyze it to refine the teaching and learning process. Use the data you've acquired to plan going forward. Are the students ready to move on, or do you need to reteach? What was successful? Why was it successful? What wasn't successful, and how can you improve going forward? This is reflective practice. So, will you be a standards-based educator?